Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 25 of The Burning Wheel. We've been playing, some of us at least, we've been playing this game for almost exactly a year now. I noticed in the Roll20 game,
Wow.
in the Roll20 game, it was like, next scheduled game 1 year ago. And I was like, yes, I've not been keeping up on scheduling in the game, but welcome back, everyone.
Happy birthday, guys.
Congrats, guys.
Happy unofficial, semi-accurate Burning Wheel campaign birthday, everybody.
Feels good.
Only Austin was here too.
Yeah.
Austin's here in spirit.
Yeah.
So, thank you for coming back, everybody. I know it's been a couple of extra weeks, more than usual, because Suzanne and me and the rest of the Roll20 folks have been hard at work on Roll20 Con, which I hope some of you were able to attend some of, at least. How was
I
your...
watched it. Oh, and the dog.
The dogs are excited about it.
They loved it.
Andrew lives in Winterfell, and see the Boltons. They've got all these dogs, right? And so, how was your Roll20 Con, Suzanne? I wanted to ask you about that.
It was amazing.
Yeah, you had a good time.
I'm really sad that it's over, but I'm also kind of happy that it's over. You know, it's that balance. But
Did you play anything, or were you just like doing everything else?
Well, gee, Adam, I think I played with you in a 13th Age game, and I also got to moderate 2 panels: the publishing and the digital age panel with some industry, tabletop game publishers, as well as the marketplace creator module. Jesus, I can't talk anymore. Marketplace creator panel.
This is what happens when you have to be in charge of a convention. Your brain just melts and dribbles
This
out
week
your
we've
ears.
been doing a lot of work this week, but we've also been recovering and recuperating. So no words. There have been no words.
Yeah. Well, I had a good time, and hopefully everybody who got to attend enjoyed it as well. Got to play some games, and for people who have been asking, we'll have all the VODs and stuff up on YouTube eventually. It just takes a lot of energy to cut up that much video, but you can watch it here. Obviously not now, but any other time on the Twitch channel. What's everybody else been up to? Andrew, I saw you streaming the other day. You were painting some miniatures. That's cool. How far did you get? I just saw you start. Yeah, look at that little robot guy. What are you painting? Is that War Machine? War Hammer, War Master, War something?
War Machine.
Yeah.
It's a Retribution of Syra, so like starter box.
Cool.
So yeah, I got through this whole big guy on stream.
Nice. Good
And all
work.
that
Yeah, I
stuff.
got to catch some of that. That's exciting.
I'm actually really stoked on how it turned out.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so I'm gonna keep doing that. That's
Good. Are you one of those people that just like buys and paints minis but doesn't play the game?
I used to play the game a lot, but then I kind of like moved far away from the shop where I played it, and yeah, it's
You
like
used to play it at
you
play it at
need to have like
Strategies?
people to play with too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I have a lot of unplayed miniature game stuff in boxes where I was like, I was a big painter, and then I was like, I'll play this eventually someday, but I don't have the competitive edge that you need to like really win at those games.
I definitely have that. I want to win so badly. I really, really want the victory.
Yeah, people who have only seen Andrew on the Roll20 shows, you don't know this about him, but he's dangerous. Andrew's a dangerous individual. I've played board games with Andrew before.
Yeah, we played the Game of Thrones board game.
He's been pretty dangerous on the show.
In role-playing games, Andrew is dangerous to himself. That's how he wins RPGs. Jess, what have you been doing? Did you change your hair between the last time that we played and now? I just keep looking at it and being like, yeah.
I know. I can't help
Probably several
myself.
times in
It looks
between.
awesome. I just
love
noticed
it.
it again. Yeah.
It's the perfect blue too.
Thank you.
It's like indigo.
So did
Yeah,
you get it in the first try, or did you have to like go at it a bunch of times before you
First
actually-
try this time around, but I know that as soon as it starts fading, it's just going to turn green. Because that's what blue does. But
Green.
it's fun for now. I like it. It's like denim-y.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm into it.
Yeah, I've been dyeing my hair. I've been coughing.
So dyeing regularly, just normal dyeing. Yep.
Yeah,
All the dying you can do.
all the dying.
Yeah.
Got my dying covered.
Well, that's good, I guess. You gotta
Yeah,
at
so
least.
apologies in advance if I just start like hacking during a monologue. Oh,
okay.
jeez.
Yeah, I feel you. It's high allergy season for me, so I've been doing a lot of like sniffling and wishing that I
Yeah, I
didn't
think
have a
that's
body.
what started it.
Yeah, I feel that. How about you, Colin? What you been up to? Anything exciting? Not dying, I hope.
Well, I spawned a tropical storm.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Sent forth that mayhem.
that's nice. Yeah, I don't think anybody else had a tropical storm named after them. There's definitely no Typhoon Adam or whatever.
Yeah,
There's a naming
But-
convention. There's a naming convention for these things, though, right? Like
there is, but I don't know what it is.
I think they alternate male and female and just work their way through the alphabet or something. Isn't that how it works?
I've heard that they intentionally make them a little ridiculous to get media attention.
Oh yeah,
so that
it's totally just like a sensationalism thing now.
Yeah, I mean, Colin is a pretty ridiculous name.
I mean, yeah,
It's a bit anachronistic.
but yeah, other than like sort of controlling the weather, I haven't been doing much. Just work and Overwatch at all hours.
Mm-hmm. How is Overwatch treating you?
It's really good. I really like it. I'm mostly just playing by myself. I've gotten in a few different games with some people, but it's like not a very frustrating experience to play by yourself, which is kind of new for me. Because like I like played some CS:GO and some other shooters before that, and it's like if you don't have a team that's just on top of everything, it sucks.
Yeah.
And if everyone isn't coordinating and communicating, it sucks. And Overwatch has elements of that for sure. Like there's definitely points where I'm like, we don't need 3 Widowmakers. We just don't. Like there's no reason this could be. But like you'll also have those situations where like 2 people go Reinhardt and like then suddenly the remaining members of the team all go Reinhardt too. And then you win that way. Like and it's like this shouldn't work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun. And I was also participating in what I will refer to as bug testing of Symmetra's teleporter. Testing how well Blizzard has accounted for sort of adding a buffer of like buildable area from a cliff to a more safe location. Just making sure my teammates, have no in the future, Blizzard can patch the game so that there's no ways that your teammates might accidentally fall off a cliff.
It's nice doing that pro bono user testing for Blizzard. It's kind of
I know. I do some of that at work, and it just it carries over sometimes.
It's really just boosting the user experience of people who like getting run off cliffs. Good.
Yep.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. I hope you continue enjoying solo queuing that game because God knows I won't play with you now.
No, I think I have to lay low from that bug testing.
Yeah.
Because there were some, salty folks.
Yeah, you don't want to get a bad reputation.
These words like griefing thrown around, and it's like the assumptions they make about my intentions are just hurtful, honestly.
I actually think it's like an OB7 grief test if you run off out of a teleporter and off a cliff. I think that's how that works.
Yeah, I got it on my sheet here.
You're insensitive to the elven players in your game. Cool. Well, let's talk about where we're at vis-a-vis the Burning Wheel, because it'd be cool to jump ahead a little bit from the burning ruins of the sort of town, the portable town, to something a little bit more permanent. Like I'd like to see maybe where the Great Plains clan are in like a month. It would also allow you guys to make some tests to help you recover from the first roll we're gonna have to make in the game, which is the seasonal lifestyle maintenance obstacle test, which is cool. It sounds like it involves a lot of forms, but every time a season closes in our campaign, you have to make a resources test to maintain your character's various living quarters, clothes, food, lifestyle stuff. So if you're living like a king, you must pay the price in dice And this will be for characters predominantly that have property, like a workshop, for example, and see if that's still like available to them, or if it's if the cupboard is becoming a little bare. So this way, if we take a little time, then y'all can get a job. But before we did that, Bernard, the sort of immediate thing that happened was the great blossoming of the walking crypt, and I'm totally okay just being like, I don't know, something happened and we don't get to see it on screen, and maybe strange things have happened to Bernard. But if you wanted to like moment to moment it, we could do that too. What do you think? How you feel about that?
It could come up just in flashbacks too. That's always fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I was having trouble deciding if Bernard's need to learn things would cause him to walk into a mysterious light. And it probably would, actually. I kind of like the idea that we never 100% decided what was in or saw what was in the shining light, but I kind of like the idea that maybe he's possessed, possibly. Mm-hmm. Maybe he has powers, but we don't know. So I'm definitely open to leaving that unanswered.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to make some notes that are totally unrelated to any of that stuff. Just a second here.
Although at the same time, I do have a belief that says I wanted to discover the secret, and so I might therefore not narratively be able to say that I officially.
No, I mean you can always resist your beliefs for the sake of betterment of your character's continued living, but you can change that belief, because that'll be what we're going to kind of go over now. You can change that belief to be like continuing to figure out what happened, because something occurred, and from there we'll be able to figure it out. So I mean, I kind of like the idea of not just straight up being like, cool, then this happens and then these things happen and then here's some scary stuff. I'm kind of okay with just being like, there was a blinding light, roll credits, and then we just like skip it. We don't show it on screen, and we can figure it out in, like Andrew said, in conversations, in flashbacks, that sort of thing.
Yeah, works for me.
That? Okay, wicked. Cool. Okay, well, since we're doing a slightly shorter session today, since we're doing 3 hours, we can make this one the sort of like cleanup, episode for the arc, and that'll give us some room to do to talk about trait votes and all that stuff today too. So we can do beliefs, we can do a little bit of like during the month, these are some things that happened. Not get too complicated there, and then we can talk about traits and all that stuff at the end, if that sounds good to you.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, word. So keeping in mind that what we want to do today is figure out what you're going to leave behind, basically, when you leave the Great Plains clan, right? Like, this is the night of the revolution is come and gone. The coup is finished. You've seized control. You've turned it over to Queen Rubati. Whether you leave her in charge or not, whatever, that'll be up to this episode. But what do you want to accomplish in the time between when the Eve of Fire is over and when you leave to continue your adventures? And then we can go from there. So don't write anything necessarily belief-wise like big today, but feel free to keep any belief you think you'll be able to hit while we play this particular session. So I don't know. Anybody want to volunteer to go first? Talk about beliefs. Andrew, you usually have your belief situation pretty sorted out. Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm leaving one blank, so because I was thinking if we were going to move on to some new situation, I'd want to keep it open.
Okay.
And I'll still just do that. If I think of something good, I'll fill it in. But otherwise, it seems like this is a bit of a more broad strokes session anyways. So
yeah,
I'm going back to my classic, I must care for these wanderers as a wolf mother cares for her cubs, feed them, teach them, guard them fiercely. And then still having my belief about how Bernard's destiny remains hidden, and perhaps knowing his place among the stars will bring me closer to an answer.
Okay. All right. So you want to focus on figuring those things out, at least the Bernard one?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Which might provide some opportunity to learn about spoopiness or not. We'll see.
Okay. All right, that sounds good, and give you some time to like commune with the stars and what have you. Okay, and then for your instincts?
Yeah, so when I come to a forest, always consult with the elder trees and always share my knowledge when asked. And then my traits are etharcal, stern, gray mantle, matriarchal, fair and statuesque, bunch of elf crap.
Okay, good. Elf crap. Excellent. Okay, cool. So do you want to write that second belief about the session today?
Yeah, I'm gonna think on it while we're talking about this stuff.
Okay, yeah, because it'll help me
Maybe
know
I'll try to
what
tie
kind
it
of
into someone else's.
what kind of stuff. Okay, cool. Gretelin, how about you? Do you want to talk about your beliefs?
Sure.
Okay.
So mine are a little bit different. I tweaked my oath
Cool. Okay.
based on events. So now it is they tried to take love away from me, but it is the strongest magic in this world. I aim to help men and elves who seek it, but I'll be the judge of who deserves it.
Nice.
A little withholding with my help this
Yeah.
time around.
Yeah, a little controlling, a little like
Yeah.
not everybody just gets to have the great
Yeah, not everyone
times.
does that. Yeah.
Everyone was a total dick to you the last
know.
time that we saw Gretelin. She was getting knocked around.
I know.
Was
And
I?
like
Yeah, I
she's
was.
everyone kind of was.
Everyone was kind of shitty to her, yeah.
She's used to being like exiled for her beliefs or the way she acts, but this is the first time that anyone has really like just dissed her work,
Mm-hmm.
like fucking thrown her art into the fire. So that hurt a little bit.
Yeah, that was rough.
I did write a new belief. We can talk about whether or not it will work for the shorter session, but not all humans are as worthy of my aid as I thought. I will be on my guard and I will steer them in directions that maintain the value of the elder races in the future.
Okay. So not all humans.
Kind of
I
a
like
big
that.
one.
So not all humans are as worthy of my aid as I believed or I thought. Be on my guard, steer them in directions to maintain the value of the elder races.
Yeah,
So-
not all men.
Yeah, not all men, exactly. Take that, Boromir. So being on your guard is an actionable thing in there, right? You can show your character being on guard.
It might be like an instinct though.
I mean, if you're doing this because of things that have happened to you, rather than like I think this is very much about your character's thoughts and feelings and philosophy, right? Not so much about like reacting instinctively to something. So I think that
Right.
it fits in a space for a belief.
Okay.
So what are things?
I could just leave it at that for this session. Just I will be on my guard and watch my back when I'm around humans.
Yeah, because then that one's sort of more like turned inward, right? Like it's not about
Yeah.
making change for the future.
Yeah.
It's just about like keeping an eye on them. Honestly, I think you could go further with this one in terms of like not trusting humans yet, or like steering them in the direction to maintain the value of the elder races is fine, but it feels kind of like middle of the road for this character. Right? Like if you want to make a belief that's very much about reacting to all the bad shit that happened to you, making a belief about like preventing that from happening again, or like getting to know someone to a certain degree before deciding to aid them, something like that, because then it'll give you more opportunity to kind of like dig in with particular characters or whatever. As it is, like fate should be easy to get from this one, but if you're angling for persona or hoping for deeds in the future, it's something that you want to kind of build up a little bit around more like specific action.
Yeah, so something like sorry. Something like get closer to individuals before offering my services or allowing them to get close to me, something like that.
Yeah. I wouldn't even necessarily say like get closer, right? You could say like I will pass judgment before offering my aid, Like it doesn't even have to be about like, oh, I need to feel better about this. It can just straight up be like I will decide whether they're worth being allied to or not on an individual basis, right? Like maybe humanity is good, but humans are shitty sometimes, right? Like there's that layer there.
I like and I'll be on my guard and I will weigh each individual, each individual's worthiness of my something.
Yeah. I'll judge each individual's worthiness of my aid. Something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
I like that.
Or worthy of my help. Yeah, okay, that's cool. But you still believe that humans are your equals and they need to be armed with the tools?
Yeah, they're still equal.
Totally
They're just
fine.
I didn't realize that they were as jerky as dwarves were too.
I understand. All men are created equal. Some are just more equal than others.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Snowball. So, you wanna keep your instincts as is?
I'm keeping my instincts. They're fun to play out. Threatened, put on my forge mask. That one always comes in handy.
Yep.
Always dance when there's music, which is just like cute and fun.
Mm-hmm.
And always keep the best stuff for myself.
I love that one. That one's so good.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, and then your traits.
My traits are stolid, humility, hard work, determined, accustomed to the dark, oath sworn, bearded, greed, shaped from earth and stone, tough, stout, romantic, stoic, and charming.
Nice. Good stuff. All right, cool. So let's take a look at his high gloriousness, Octavian. How are you feeling about your beliefs, your highness?
Okay. I am feeling all right about them.
Mm-hmm.
I basically just rewrote them. And I've been sort of thinking about how to sort of continue with the dynamic between Saba and Sia and me and figure out like where the belief might lie there. So I'm thinking I want to find the opportunity to challenge her in some way so that like I can determine what her motives are.
Okay.
and like whether she's worth like accompanying me in this party after all. Like, but that's kind of all I've got in terms of that belief. That's like the
Yeah.
vague.
So, I mean, in what way would be like an appropriate what's an appropriate challenge for Octavian, either like personally or culturally? Like, what's a way that you figure out if someone is worth traveling with you?
So I think this comes down to like it's a diplomatic issue as well, because I like feel that like it's my duty to represent the Fire Clan. So I am concerned for her like existing in this party, accompanying us on our sort of journey here,
Mhm.
which is mission really. And so I want to kind of like challenge her like role here, like what it not so much like in a in like the way we've sort of had issues before, which is like disagreement over how to handle Marta and stuff, but like figure out like what is it that you want here and what is it you're offering. Otherwise, like why should Octavian permit your presence with this group? That
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah. The motivation behind it, I think, is pretty clear. So what's the way that you would challenge that, right? Like by like I don't know, like how would you know either way if you fulfilled
Yeah,
this
I
belief
think
or
it's
this
like I think
situation?
it's like I'm sort of just making up my mind to actually like verbally challenge. Not like this is a challenge, but like confront, I guess is more like the right word. Like directly confront Savencia about her continued role in this party.
Yeah.
Does
Okay.
that make sense?
Yeah. I think I understand now. So is this something that you would go directly to Sabencia about, or do you see yourself like getting counsel from like
Yeah,
Werner?
no, I think I would go. I would go right to her. This is like I think I have like overblown the concept here. It's like I'm basically vowing to have a very blunt conversation.
Right. We need to have a talk.
Yeah,
That makes sense. Yeah, because things got heated. There was some
yeah,
discussion of who was in charge, And then yeah, you were both seeing things from a different perspective. Okay, cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Your second belief?
Yeah, so my patience for insubordination has expired. I will command the respect of my company moving onward. So yeah, that's like,
Nice clear one.
yeah. And then my third one is I will forge onward from this boring grassy puddle of a city and embrace the open wilderness yet again. And then I just trailed off here without finishing the thought. So the idea here is like, I want us to get the fuck out of here. I hate this place. I'm done with it. Like I've gotten what I can out of it. I've gotten like some trinkets, but I want to basically like put an effort into pushing us onward and just getting out. So if there's like remaining issues that need to be sorted out, like I don't care.
Yeah. Right, you're done. You did your job, and it's time to move on. Yeah, I like that. So, so the idea here is you're sick and tired of this place because it's boring, or because you're done with it, or both. Like, you did what you came here to do.
The complexity of like the sort of political matters that transpired here, and the overall like foreign nature of it to my mind is like, just I don't want to deal with it. I want to move on. I'm like a warrior, god damn it. I want to like forge ahead and, you know, strike out into the wilderness and that sort of thing.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think that like, you know, like my job here is done. I will forge onward from this boring grassy puddle of a city and embrace the open wilderness yet again. That's a good enough belief, right? To just be like, I am done with this business.
Yeah.
And let's move on. Okay. Cool. And your instincts?
Instincts, I always help those in need, as doing so is a sure path to praise and glory.
Mm-hmm.
And I prioritize my outward appearance and hygiene above many more conventionally important matters.
Excellent. Okay.
I actually don't like the phrasing on that. I don't like the conventionally important part, because what I was trying to like denote is like, not that concern for your outward appearance is like unconventionally important or not conventionally.
Right.
I'm trying to convey that I do these things in like inappropriate times.
Right.
Like, I'm concerned with this stuff when like there's much more like grave issues.
The easiest way to clarify instincts is to make sure that they are like if then always never kind of statements. So a statement like always look my best, you can just say always, literally always, all the time. Like if something prevents me from looking my best, I stop what I'm doing and I fix that, right? Like it makes it much more extreme, and it makes it about a very simple thing. Or like always look presentable. Always make sure I am clean. You know, I've seen you using this one. I think the way you intend it to be used. So I think just writing it to be like simpler, right? Like, yeah, because it doesn't have to have. It's an instinct, so it doesn't have to have the sort of judgment of conventionally important matters or when or whatever. You can just say, always this, right? Like, or never look anything less than perfect or whatever, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So feel free to go a little more extreme on that one.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. And then your traits.
My traits are narcissist, impulsive, your grace, noblesse oblige, mark of privilege, and sworn homage.
Excellent. Cool. All right. And then last but not least, Bernard.
Yes.
Let's talk about your beliefs. What do you got?
What do I get? My first belief is still the same, I think. It's necessary to record everything about our current history for posterity. I have my new beliefs slightly modified, written down, but I didn't add them in because I just wasn't sure yet.
Sure.
I feel like the second one about taking credit for the coup of the Plains clan, whether or not I succeeded, I feel like I need to move on from that one since it happened. And I was thinking of I must calculate the next power move to get Octavian closer to the throne.
Okay. So for these ones, I think the key thing to remember too is like, is there something you could do in this session, like a role you could make or a skill you could use or someone you could talk to or interact with that would help, that would resolve that belief for you, right? Because beliefs are meant to be things that you can say, okay, well, when it's my turn to guide where my character is going, I'm going to pick a belief and do a thing that gets me either the completion of that belief or closer to it.
Okay.
So like in the interim time, in the like month or whatever you'll have before you set out, in the time it needs to like set up the town and like, I mean, depending on how angry Bernard is about being held back, you'll have more or less time. But like what can you do to resolve your belief? So like the first one, doing like interviews with members of the community, like making sketches, talking to people, spending time like recording all the things that happened, eyewitness interviews, that kind of thing. So that one's easy for you to act on today.
Okay.
I think there's still room for the like proving yourself indispensable to Octavian one. I would focus on the last part though, the like taking credit, and like writing it in such a way that you could say like, that you will make sure that you too have a place in history by including yourself in the annals of the coup, right? Like, because now this is where the historian does not shine when history is happening, right? It's in the aftermath where you get to report on it and write down all this stuff and send it home to be added to the library, right? So this is your opportunity to really like, get your own importance on the table.
Yeah.
So that's certainly something you could do. And then for your third belief, yeah, like the idea of like determining what's next. What would be a thing that you would do to make that happen, right? Like what would be something in session that your character would do to find out what the next step is?
I feel like it's a reactionary thing, which I'm not sure if that makes it a not so great belief. But as opportunities come to pass, saying, this would position us in a greater position of power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and that's the trick with beliefs, because writing a belief that's sort of reactionary means that you're waiting for stuff to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And often I'll try to create stuff to happen in the session based on the beliefs, but it's always easier to have like some kind of actionable, kind of ambitious plan for your character ready to go yourself. So you can go after it. But I mean, there's some crossover here with you and Saba and Sia, because Saba and Sia has some admittedly limited powers of prophecy, and you also have the ability to like read the stars, right? So turning this one into, something about looking to the stars for guidance, or creating a chart for the most auspicious time to continue your quest, like something that gives you a skill that you can roll against, and it gives you opportunity to like go to the other characters for help, right?
Yeah.
So that might be worth looking at.
I really like that. Could I make that I want to read the stars to find proof that Octavian is the chosen one?
I mean, do you need proof? Right? Like I feel like it's been done, right? Like when he was born, it was a given.
Okay.
But part of your job is right to guide him. So, consulting the stars for the next thing to do is certainly possible, right? Because it plays into that.
Okay. So I must consult the stars to decide what our next move should be.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Exactly. And see, that's much more like actionable, and you can do something with that can move you towards resolution.
Okay, so we're leaving behind that. So I'm replacing.
We know that something happened in the light, but Bernard maybe doesn't remember or got really drunk afterwards.
Possibly.
So something like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then your instincts, are you feeling good about those?
Yeah, I actually kind of like them as they are.
Perfect.
Still.
Yep,
Writing in my journal, drinking and taking every opportunity to learn something new.
Cool.
I like those as is, actually.
Sounds good. And your traits?
My traits are, oh, my screen is too small. I can't read them all. I am rabble rouser, drunk, a know-it-all, snarky, nearsighted, bookworm, and glib.
Excellent. Okay, cool. All right. So when we return to the scene of the crime, y'all were there during the winter, so it's spring now, and the seasons have shifted. It's, I would say, like, not a full season, but maybe a third of a season. It's like a month later. And in place of the temporary camp where the Great Plains tribe was settled, now there are buildings starting to be erected, right? We have, instead of the tents have been made into roofs for like wooden buildings that have started to get assembled. We can see tracks where they have like pulled logs in from a forest somewhere off to the north to build these buildings. I don't think we're at the point yet, a month in, where they're quarrying or anything, but so that's they're starting to build like wooden structures. And in the center of the town, there's a sort of crater where the old monolith used to be. There's a sort of deep kind of like hole in the ground, and next to it, a massive like wooden wheel has been erected, and there's like a bit of a sort of like a temple there that's been put up. So in the aftermath of what happened, Queen Rubati has leapt on being in charge, right? She's leapt to the fore and has like really done a pretty sound job of rallying the remainder of the people in the village. But there were like sort of skirmishes that came thereafter. So there are prisoners. I think that there's been like essentially like a prison assembled on the outskirts of the town. There's like some wooden like palisades have been built up, and it's like a guarded area where people have been taken who are still like loyal to the old ways. They haven't been like outright executed, which is pretty civilized, I think, of them. Yeah, Marta, I mean, I think Saba and Sia, you remember the last thing you saw was shooting her, right? In the neck with the arrow. But she wasn't counted among the dead thereafter, right? It wasn't like a body was presented. So sometime between getting shot in the neck and now, she's sort of gone missing. So what, I guess let's do our resource test before I ask what everybody's been up to, because you might want to have been working. So to do this test, we figure out what your character's lifestyle to maintain is, right? It's based on the kinds of stuff that you have. It's based on if you own property, that kind of thing, and you'll roll your resources against a particular obstacle, and it just works as usual. If you succeed, you continue to have that access to those resources. If you fail, it's not like your lifestyle just goes away, but you do suffer tax like usual. So the lifestyle maintenance obstacles, they go between Ob 1 and Ob 11. Ob 1 being like you're a peasant day laborer, you have no home, no property or possessions to speak of. Ob 2 is like you're working poor, maybe you have a small family or a rented cottage, you're a poor knight or adventurer, just kind of like you and your horse on the road. 3 is like maintaining a family in the city or a small business like a cobbler shop, maintaining oneself as a knight, your horse, your armor, your weapons. 4 is you have a lord's manor, medium-sized business, a small blacksmith. Ob 5, we start to get out of what I think that kind of like hangs on your characters, right? Like singular maintenance of a fortress and surrounds, that kind of thing. So it sounds to me like probably Ob 4 for Gretelin. The medium, small blacksmith.
Yeah, the blacksmith part.
Yeah, Ob 4 for you. Probably Ob 3 for Octavian. All right, because you've got armor to maintain, and do you have any do you have a house somewhere, Octavian? Did you buy property?
I did not buy.
Okay, yeah, good. So this is about this one, Ob 3. And then probably Ob 2 for the other two, for Bernard and Savencia. Unless Savencia, you don't own you're a wanderer, right? You don't own a house.
I don't own anything except what I'm carrying. Yeah.
So Ob
Left
2
it all
for
behind.
Ob 2 for both of you, because you do have some stuff.
I guess even just like having weapons and stuff counts in that way, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm resources 0, so I'm to fail this roll. What does that then result in? Because I can't even be taxed.
Yeah.
What's the consequence if I fail this roll?
So the consequence of failing lifestyle and maintenance roll is, let me take a look if there's any specific stuff. I think it just means that like your stuff is like not doing well, right? Your armor becomes pitted. You start to look ragged. You're losing access to some of the stuff that you have, as represented by tax. Like when you fail a resource roll, I can give you the thing that you wanted, and then tell you like, yeah, you're like maybe break some of your equipment or whatever. But if you want, let's talk about, we can do this. We can do job stuff first if you're in this position. I wanted to like talk about the resources first, so we could call it like after that. So that way you might at least have a chance to make it.
Yeah, and I think this actually is a good thing for my second belief about how I can make a belief about needing to develop some means of supporting myself out here, since
or you can make a more short-sighted belief if you want. I know you're an elf and that's not how you operate, but if you wanted to make a belief about the village, you could write a belief about something like the villagers are going to need more than fire and swords if they're going to survive. I will clothe them and whatever. Like you can work to like make them, like they're building houses and stuff. They're going to need textiles.
So I could have my belief be about helping them out, but then also it would get
teaching these savage humans to like get their shit together.
Yeah. If that's a fair way to like loop in earning my living as well, then cool.
Yeah, definitely. The way job stuff works is you if you want to spend time getting a job, you pick a skill. So you establish what job or occupation you're undertaking. You pick a skill to represent it. You test the skill with the appropriate forks. And the obstacle, this is for recovering tax. The obstacle is 1 plus the number of missing like tax dice. And if you meet the obstacle, you get that back. So is anybody taxed on the resources right now? Because you have 0, right? Like 0 and 0. Okay. Has anybody made, like, you haven't made any, like, failed rolls for resources? I feel like Gretelin, maybe you might have.
Yeah, Gretelin failed a resource roll, but I don't think you elected to. Or did you elect to tax her?
Yeah, she's taxed 2 dice. She has she normally has resources 4, but she's taxed down to 2. So, Gretelin, if you wanted to, you could use one of your skills to just, like, spend that time forging tools for the humans, right? You're not a weaponsmith by trade. You're a plain blacksmith. Like you make horse hooves and nails and construction equipment and shit, axes and that kind of stuff. So that'd be a way to recover that tax.
Yeah, I think I would totally do that.
Okay, and then how's your resources looking, Octavian? Let's see.
I have 3.
Okay, and you have a cash die too to throw.
Oh yeah, I have 1 cash die.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so you'll need that cash die if you want to succeed, because you've got a. Well, I mean, you could get a success on all 3. That's possible. You got fate. Okay, cool. And then what are your resources at, Bernard?
I'm at 1.
You got 1. Okay, so you just have to get a success on that roll.
Pretty much.
Okay. So We can. I mean, we can do this in whatever order. So, is there anybody who wants to make their test now, or does anybody want to spend time trying to earn cash dice to boost their test?
I want to earn my living.
Yeah, you want to earn your living. Well, so for you, you don't have any tax to recover. So for you, it's going to be earning cash dice to make an Ob1 test with 0 dice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're not building up resources. You're literally like making shit and then trading it for money. It's more of like a barter situation that will build on your resources if you succeed. Okay. I imagine then, Octavian, you're probably not gonna be doing that. Okay.
No, I'm not.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start with Gretelin then. So Gretelin, what is keeping your beliefs and stuff in mind, your beliefs and instincts in mind? Tell me a little bit about what you do to both contribute to the like growth of the people of the Plains Clan in their new technological. They've raised a level in their civilization. You know, they're trying to work with metal, that kind of thing. What do you do? Are you like doing any kind of like teaching, or are you just straight up like give me stuff and I'll give you these?
Yeah, that's actually what I was thinking, that I just have my cart kind of in the center of everything, and like Renaissance fair style, where there's just like the blacksmith guy in the middle and everyone's watching around him.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's like watching me do it, and I'll like ask some of the younger lads to come up and help me, and you know, try to get them excited about learning the trade.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not like forcing knowledge upon them. I'm just like, you know, if you want to learn, come on up.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm providing them with like basic things like hammers and like, I don't know, saws, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I think part of it too is like you could be forging tools to then sell so that they can you'd be like, oh, well, unfortunately, to be able to make one of these, you need a hammer, which I just made. Pa-boom.
Right.
You want to sell it? You want to trade it to me?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so it sounds to me like you're doing your job, but you might also be training, like instruct, right? Like you're kind of learning. So let me take a look at, I think it's an academic skill, but I might be wrong.
It's funny because this is exactly my plan as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so is this something you're doing together then? I mean, let's actually, you know what? Let's see a conversation between the two of you about this very thing, right? Like sometime shortly after the chaos, you know, they're like, you know, there's a lot of like still a lot of like fiery speeches going on, a lot of like hunting down of dissidents and what have you, but yeah,
As you do.
the disloyal are being rounded up and like people are being tested by the fire. Probably Rubati is like making up like rituals for the clan, right? She's essentially creating like new religion out of her understanding of the Fire Clan. So the two of you, I think, are maybe like at the edge of one of these like branding rituals. It's like late at night. Rubati has gathered everybody around a big. They use the crater as like a fire pit. So there's this big like bonfire throwing these like intense dark shadows everywhere, and Rubati and some of her like most loyal are like bringing people up and baptizing them in fire, right? They're like, she's like ritually like burning them.
Sounds delightful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they're loyal, it won't hurt, right? So you know, and I think there is a degree, like you can all kind of feel, like, keep in mind this isn't just sort of chicanery, right? There is a fire god, and you know, it's maybe clear, maybe not, but you feel his presence here, right? The fire seems to to move at Rubati's will. She does have faith, so but you can both sense that this is not sustainable, right? A fire this bright can't burn forever. So the two of you are like out of the edge, and you're sort of seeing this going on.
So I'm imagining Saba just like being really calm and contemplative about the whole thing. And so she's just like doing some weaving or whatever, or some spinning while talking to Gretelin.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Gretelin kind of casts shade at these higher ups because they're mean.
Yeah, do you share, have you shared any of your experience during the night of whatever, the eve of flame, when all that stuff happened to you?
No, I don't think I told any of my friends that I was almost robbed, because that's embarrassing. But
And that you then murdered a bunch of people.
and then yeah, that part. I think I glaze over that. But they know, like, they saw me wronged in public, you know, so they know that stung.
And yeah, Saba, the same thing happened with what I built.
Right. Yeah. So we can kind of commiserate over like our fine crafting skills just being, you know, literally cast into the flames.
Yeah, and so I think like the opening line is she like holds up some cloth that she's been weaving, and she just says, "Well, do you think they'll burn this one too?" And then like folds it back up.
You know, I just don't understand how they can be so flippant with our Well, I think some of these smaller folk, you know, they show great interest. They want to learn. They want better things.
Perhaps when they understand the work that goes into it, they will have a little more respect for it.
Precisely.
Or, you know, they think we just
Clever woman. I can
Yeah,
see. I know these things. I can see these things. I absolutely agree.
And so maybe we like outline our like business plan here, because we're just like,
So how can we grift these?
The
Well,
humans,
because I think Saba's
the humans
next
must be
line
taught, but not for free.
is like, yeah, and we are running low on supplies.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And that, it cost me a pretty penny to make this. Well, my
Oh, right,
my
it's like
armor.
melted into.
Yeah.
Just have like a sad.
This was
face.
not inexpensive. So
Emotionally.
yes, emotionally and physically taxing. So I see no harm in, you know, purveying these people, but also helping ourselves.
Yes, can be to our mutual benefit.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, so are you both then like working together? I guess we see the plan in action. Obviously, like Gretelin, you like Jess, you described Gretelin's little like gathering together of the strong men and women of the village to be like kind of like the carnival like dumbbell thing of the like where you hit the bell and it's like, who's strong enough to lift the mighty dwarf's hammer?
Yeah.
Who
yeah.
can carry my anvil? I bet you can't carry it 10 paces. And like, you know, like I like
Yeah,
that.
I'm making it like a game.
Yeah. So the young men and women of the tribe are like basically like pushing each other around and trying to like no, I'll do it. I'm strong enough. And kind of like making a game of
Who
it.
would like to try their hand at the mighty forge?
Exactly. I'm strong as a dwarf. I could do that.
Yeah.
Look, she's only 4 feet tall.
Right.
Awesome. Okay. So I think so. Instruct is a social. You can both take a test for Instruct if you want. Instruct is luckily it's a social skill, which means you get 1 test a month. Neither of you have Instruct, right?
No, I'm learning it.
Yeah. So add Instruct to your skills being learned and mark 1 test.
Cool.
So you can have Instruct. So what are you doing, Saba and Sia? How are you?
Mine is less flashy and more just like I just go around to all of the like old people and like I teach it to people who are less physically able, so it's like a skill that they can offer.
Yeah.
And my thinking is that like those people are keen to have something that they can do so they don't get left out in the cold.
Yeah. And there are weavers like among the clan already, right? Like they have a tradition of like weaving grass and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I teach them how to weave like other fibers, and like my daughter kind of helps me like demo stuff.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, because right now they have their level of technology is like, like flint weapons, maybe like some limited, like bronze craft, and then for textiles, like they haven't invented they don't have looms, they can't spin like thread really. So
That's probably one of the big things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and they don't have herd animals, right? So they can't
Yeah.
they don't have sheep to shear to like make cloth. So like teaching them even how to make like gathered jute into or like wild cotton or whatever into fabric is like a big deal.
Totally. And I think the idea is that part of it is like Saba taking a cut of the stuff that gets like scavenged out.
Yeah,
Like,
for real. Totally. That makes sense. Yeah.
And so,
Okay.
yeah, like part of it is me going out into the fields with them and like showing them what kind of stuff is good to gather. Because I had been doing that previously as well, right? So, yeah, cool.
Okay. All right. So both of you will be able to make a test based on your actual abilities, but they're for different purposes. One is going to be to earn cash dice to make the test. The other is to recover tax dice for functionally the same reason. So let me get to the resources stuff here. And then I will let you know what you need to roll. Resources, here we go. Okay, so to recover your tax, you can roll. What skill do you want to use, Gretelin, to recover your tax?
I
I think it's the black metal one.
That would make the most sense.
Because you're making functional tools, right? You said you were making them like, you're like, look, I can take this strange gray rock and I can turn it into a hammer that won't just like break after you use it 4 times.
Yeah, and like
Behold, iron.
like building basic building implements and also like stuff like frying pans and that kind of thing.
Well, the fucked up thing is you're teaching them that like they don't have stone, they don't make stone buildings. So you had to be like, at some point, be like, all right, a bunch of you like go get some heavy rocks. We'll bring it over here. I'll teach you how to make like rudimentary cement. We'll make a little forge. It's like playing every survival PC game ever. Gather like 20 rock, bring it over here. We're going to Minecraft you up a little forge. And they're like, what is this strange shell made of stone? And you're like, now we can make a fire that's super hot. And then you can turn those gray lumps into liquid metal. And then you can make hammers and shit. And they're like,
The funnest quest line.
mind blown. Yeah, you're just like, dragging them up the civilization chain. So, cool. Okay.
Bring me 20 rock.
Exactly. Go get me 20 rock and 50 wood. And
Yeah.
Guys, clearly you got to go get Gretel and 30 rock.
lay them out in an H shape, and we'll make them into some
Why did I not
ladders.
like make that connection? Yeah, so I guess I'll use.
Most of them come back, but one of them accidentally digs his way down through the map and then dies. I don't know, it's
Yeah.
weird. He hit some lava.
Yeah, rip.
So let's take a quick look at your skills. I think Black Metal Artifice is the skill we're looking for. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can fork things. So what do you got that you want to fork into this business?
Fire and steel wise.
Yep.
Haggling mayhap
Yeah.
because
Sure.
I'm trying to pawn this stuff off.
Yep.
Um,
Haggling is pretty much always a fork for like getting a job role.
I think you should pay me this much.
Yeah.
So you got two dice for Black Metal Artifice, right?
and maybe like shrewd appraisal. Because
Yeah.
I'm like,
Sure.
well,
Yep.
I know what this is really worth, and you can't skunk me on this.
Yeah. Totally.
3. That's probably it. Fire building?
Yeah, I'd allow it. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's all part of the process of like teaching these nerds how to use fire.
All right, cool. So 4.
Do you have any
Or
other
what?
any other related crafting skills? Like, do you have like,
N-
you have the war arts, right?
oh yeah, I do. I'm not making weapons. Though.
Doesn't matter. It's a fork.
All right.
Forking is nice and broad.
Alright.
Because like with that, it's like you know how to do different kinds of crafting the same thing, so you're fine.
Cool.
They're all within the same category. Okay, so make a roll with that pool.
Alright.
With an ob of 3.
Okay.
If you meet the obstacle, you recover 1 die of tax, and then if you get any more, they'll go towards recovering.
Cool. Ooh.
Okay, how'd you do?
Hmm.
Nice, yeah. Okay, so you recover all your taxed. You can get rid of your tax thing. Restore your resources to 4. Mark a routine test for black metal artifice.
Okay.
And cool. And this takes up basically like you don't get to do anything else. You're just like busy with this for up until we catch up with the character. So you're
Cool.
sweating over a hot forge every day. Cool.
Well,
Okay.
I like it.
All right. So similar roll, but if you get a success, you'll get a cash die. So to generate a cash die, let's see, either as a reward or payment. Oh yeah, that's right. You can generate cash from your own resources. It's really hard, but it generates free money because it takes money to make it. Let's see. To generate how many cash dice do you want to generate? You've got an ob 1 test to make. What do you think, Andrew?
How hard is it? I mean, I guess if I get 1, that's a 50-50 chance that I just succeed.
Yeah.
I should try to make 2, but it's probably really hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fuck, I'll try to make 2.
I'm gonna try and get 2. Okay. All right. So you're looking at an ob 4 test.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a gray shade skill that's open-ended, so
It's true. You do.
I'll make it.
How many dice do you have to begin with?
1.
Okay. All right. You got forks? You got any forks for this thing?
But for my weaving way roll, I feel like I've got forks. So I've got mending.
Okay.
I've got foraging.
Yep.
And then maybe also I'm still learning scavenging, or that would be useful. Do I have anything else? Maybe Rhyme of the Pathfinder or something, but probably not. It's probably just covers all that.
Fair.
So those 2.
Okay.
And maybe persuasion.
No, haggling yes, persuasion not so much.
Okay, cool. So I have 2 forks.
Mm-hmm. So you got 3 dice against ob 4, but it's
Yeah.
open-ended.
Now here's the other question for you, Adam.
Yes.
I have 2 characters.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to have each character roll, or will Saba be rolling for both? Because if Saba's rolling for both,
Saba will roll for both, and you can get a helping die. Yeah.
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 My modifier is at 3.
Okay.
It's already open-ended. Do I spend a persona? You know what? Let's just roll it. Ob 4.
It is. Yes, it is ob 4. Did you get any 6s?
So close.
Okay, I would have auto rolled the 6s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's got 5 days here. Okay. All right. So you don't. I mean, you achieve the instructing time and everything, but it's more work intensive and just there isn't the return you expected on the plan, and you're not able to generate the cash that you need basically. And I think that what you do is at the end of that, this is the sort of you have 0 dice to roll the test, so you're just kind of tapped out, right? You just your material is run low, and your gear is worn.
So here's the question: can I spend a persona point to get 1 die on my resources test?
Yes. Actually, let me double check. If you have 0, you may just not be allowed to roll.
I can't remember.
So let me see. You could get a loan. You could borrow a die from someone else.
I will try to borrow a die from Gretelin for sure.
Yeah. So let me see. Yeah. No, you have to have a die before you're allowed to use Artha.
Okay, so at the end of all that, I don't really have much money to show for it, or much stuff.
Yeah, you have literally nothing to show for it. Materially.
And so it's there's another scene of me and Gretelin hanging out, in which I asked very nicely for some money. I'm just I need to get these supplies for when we
Don't trouble yourself. I gladly offer you what you need to make your beautiful wares.
Yeah, and like
Runs-
Gretelin's doing fine. Gretelin like has
Gretelin is
now hold on
balling.
though. Can we just take a second to point out that you're asking a dwarf for money,
I mean, this is where it becomes
right? So
And
like,
I like her enough to give it to her.
I mean, you're gonna have to make a test, right? Because your greed, like you may like her, you may be like, yeah, no, and then you're like, here, take the money, and then she tries to take it, and you just won't let it go. You're like,
I touch the coin purse.
yeah, no, just take it from me. You're like, I can't.
I'm trying.
So we'll talk about the mechanics first. So
Okay.
you can test your resources to give dice to another player. The obstacle is twice as much as the number of dice you're loaning them. So if you wanted to loan one die, a single die to your friend, you can do that by making an ob2 resource test. It is a resource test though, so if you fail, you're taxed again, right? You have to literally be like, here is a bunch of money that I got from these humans. Here is some of it. I will never see that. Like, you're taxed, and you're halfway back to where you were before.
Yeah.
Before you make the test. So you add one ob for each test beyond the first that it's viable for, the loner die. So basically, if you don't want it to be too difficult, it's an ob2 test for one die. You're basically generating a cash die and giving it to Saba. Loan dice are not helping, and therefore you're not taxed if your deadbeat friend fails a resource test with your dice. It's literally just money. Now, you can, I mean, I guess the question is, is this a don't worry, I'll give you some money kind of situation, or is this a please sign here in blood, you owe me one cash die?
No, it's not a loan.
Yeah. Because one of those will be much harder to do because you're a dwarf. Dwarven usury is a thing, but dwarven charity isn't really.
Mm-hmm.
And also like Saba doesn't ask for it for free. She's like, "What can I do for you?"
Mm.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's play that out, right? So you're
Yeah, 'cause I talk about like the supplies I need, and like, oh yeah, this is stuff of mine is breaking down, and I need these things for it.
Yes.
Again, and I need to get this stuff.
And I think to kind of play up the like difference, right? Like you're meeting Gretelin at her like workshop, and there's like a couple of like humans around like making things out of metal and like working. One of them's like working a bellows, and in the middle of the conversation, some like young girl comes up to you, Gretelin, and asks you like how to like link like pieces of chain together. Like she's having a hard time with it.
Yeah.
So there's like people around like paying attention to Gretelin, and Gretelin's got a little miniature industry going on here. He's got some apprentices, and it's going great. And so what do you ask for, Sabencia?
Well, I need some coin to get, and I kind of like shrug my scarf, and it looks fine to you, but I'm like, it's just all so shabby and.
Well,
my craft doesn't give them weapons, and the other things that they seem now to be so obsessed with hasn't really caught on in the same way.
I think in due time they will see how beautiful your things are, and frankly, I've never had anything as beautiful as what you can create. My people don't have cloths of this kind, and they are quite special. I wouldn't mind having something of my own.
Well, yes, in exchange, certainly, is what I'm asking for. Not just money for free.
That would be ever so kind of you. I would love to have the lovely scarf. You know what colors work for me, dear. I know you do.
And I like.
Smart. You're a smart woman.
Yeah, I put a hand kind of on the side of your head and say, "Oh yes, of course."
Yes.
Like push your hair back a little bit and kind of like get a sense for the like proportions of your neck and stuff.
And why don't you work? Come closer to me when you work. Let's work together on this. Maybe the people that are learning from me can learn from you, and we can Why not? And in exchange,
Somewhere nearby,
What is it
Saba
that
and
you-
Sia's daughter is watching with like narrowed eyes, like,
Yeah.
"Mm,
What is this dwarf up to?
yeah. Stay away from my mom. You're not my real dad.
You're not my real second mom.
Exactly, dwarf dad.
so what is it? What is it exactly that you would be requiring from me?
And yeah, it's like this very short, embarrassingly short list of supplies that are super cheap.
No.
It's literally just like, yeah, like the stuff I have to maintain is like my clothes and basic traveling gear
hmm
and my like weaving tools. So maybe like I need more like thread and one of my needles broke.
So, but like you're asking for the funds to get those things for yourself, right? Or are you just asking for those things?
I mean, yeah, saying what I need. Cause like, Adam, I think it's appropriate to be like, oh, well, you either have the money to get the things or you just get the things straight up.
Yeah, I mean it's six of one, half dozen the other, right? Like basically, you're asking Gretelin to give you the ability to make the test. Whether Gretelin pays for it or you do doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Sugar mama me up.
so I mean, it sounds. I guess here's the question, right? Like, are you just like paying for these things for Saba and Sia, or is Saba and Sia going to like has promised to make you something in the future? Like, because that's what it sounded like.
Yeah, like I will.
I want her to make me a pretty piece of fabric.
So you recall probably
Her to be my
like
friend.
you recall some dwarven like proverb from your youth about like giving money to elves. That like giving money to elves is like throwing gems in a river, right? Like you might see them again, but you probably won't. And then also like the idea of giving someone money today for something that you'll get tomorrow, right? Like having your resources drained for something that might never show up. So the way that greed affects basically making resources tests, which is what you're about to do, is your greed higher than your resources right now? Now that
Yeah.
you've got your resources back. Okay, because what's your greed at? 5?
5.
Yeah, so if greed is higher than resources, you're hard to part with what you have. You feel like you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So resource obstacles are made at a +1 ob penalty. So basically, Gretelin, you're always either in obtain more stuff mode or keep the stuff you have mode.
Or
And
keep my stuff.
Right
yeah.
now, you're in keep my stuff mode. Because you're like, well, your greed is bigger than your bank account, so it's going to be tricky for you to like give it up. So that means that you're going to make an ob 3 resources test to pay for a chance for Saba and Sia to do okay. You could also just say no. You could also just be like, no, you know what? Because you're going to have to make, if you fail, you'll probably also fail yours, and then your workshop will suffer for it.
I'm not going to say no to Saba.
Okay. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we homies.
I'm just playing your greed. So,
Yeah, I know.
Okay. All right. So it's an ob 3 test to make this high risk investment in your
All
elven
right.
friend.
All right.
And nothing ruins friendships like money.
So
Like
before you
money.
roll, let's
Yeah.
just make sure you know where you're at here. So, you can't fork anything because it's not a skill. You can make a linked test with an appropriate skill, like if you have a wise, like lending wise or accounting, something like that. You can make one. And otherwise, I think that's it. Otherwise, you're just making an ob 3 test with what you got.
Yeah, I don't have any of those.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and make an op 3 resources test.
All right, fam. Boom.
Is that 1 a 6
Killed it.
or is it just? Yeah, it's sure not. It's a 4. Okay.
Slayed that roll.
So because it's a difficult test, you lose 2 dice. So you are right back where you started. You've turned 2 resources dice into 1 cash die. So Saba and Sia, you can now probably make and you got a 50-50 chance to make your test, but now Gretelin doesn't so when do you realize, Gretelin, that you've just made it so you can't maintain your workshop? Like what does that seem like for you? Like, is it immediate? Do you like open your little vault and like give the money away, and then you're like, wait a second, I needed that to pay for a bunch of shit? Or is it like later you come to that revelation?
I think it's later on because I'm caught up in the bustle of like the people around me and the teaching that I'm doing, and I'm like I'm thinking about this like scarf that I'm about to get, and I'm like, oh yeah, I just bought this really cool scarf. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of like her greed getting the best of her in a different way, where it's like she wants more than she actually can afford to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like after you buy something online and then you're like, oh wait, I shouldn't have done that.
Oh wait, my credit card bill.
Oh shit. No, I'm in debt.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So you have one last option, one last choice to make here. So on a failed roll, I'm invoking the gift of kindness, right? I'm allowing you to give the cash die to Sabancia. You can tell me to get out of here. You can be like, nope, never mind, and you can instead only get taxed by 1, which means you'd still have a chance to make your own resource test, but Sabancia wouldn't get the dice. So you have that one last chance to just take 1 tax instead of 2.
As in I would like refuse to give it to her?
Yeah,
Or
she wouldn't get, you would just realize that it wasn't like enough, and she wouldn't be able to make the test. It wouldn't count as a resource die. But you'd still get to make yours. You'd still have a chance because you'd have 3 dice instead of 2.
Am I too proud to tell her that I'm poor?
That's a good question.
I guess my question I would ask is like, is Gretelin's whole reason for trying to give Saba this money like her way of trying to make a friend and like cement a friendship?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, and also keep in mind too that you have at least once failed the like Wonderment like desperate longing test in regards to Sabancia as a person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I know. I want more songs.
Yeah.
Damn, girl. I guess I asked for it. Well, have I given it to her already?
I mean, it can take place in whatever fashion you want. Like maybe this is you going back into your cart to be like, yeah, let me just get you some. I have some coin I can give you, and you go back in your cart and you realize if you do that, like you're doing the math real quick in your head. And you're like, I need this. I need this to maintain the cart. Because if you don't get to make that test and you fail, you're gonna have to work at restocking the cart. You won't be able to make anything until you take some actions in game to like fix your financial situation.
All right, so I think what I do is that conversation happens. I rummage around in my cart and get like some like sack that was already empty and like never had my money in it to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And I bring it out. I'm like holding it, like looking in it, like, oh, God, Saba, I know I told you I would help you out, but making that mask just hit me really hard. I haven't recouped yet. All of these kids are trying to learn from me, and I haven't sold enough, and I'm really sorry. I just can't. I can't right now.
This is like when your rich friend is unwilling to give you $5 so you can get lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Saba just like,
well, you're slightly less rich than she thought,
from
friend.
Yeah.
I guess
I
that's,
understand
I'll just have to
completely.
wait. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I understand completely. It's all right. I'll still try to make you that scarf. I know you really want it.
Oh no, I couldn't.
And then I walk away. I just guilt the shit out of
Oh
you.
yeah.
I'm like, yes.
Yeah. And even walking away disappointed, there's something like unearthly beautiful about that elf that you're just like,
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
God, that elf.
And I think as you're walking away, like your daughter probably says like in Elven something like, like she's like, she probably has several bags of gold hidden away somewhere in that cart.
You can't help her nature.
She's like
Well-
kind of scoffs and looks around at all the humans and she's like, "Oh, they can't help their nature, huh? Then what are we even doing out here?"
Raging against fate, my daughter.
She rolls her eyes at you.
I'm just like, so. Ugh,
She's going
yeah,
through her terrible
that
200s.
was
It's
really-
okay.
Yeah.
Terrible
Cool.
200s.
All right. Okay. So the human half of our group. Let's grab a quick break and we'll jump back to all y'all because I wanted to get all that closed up and then I totally lost track of time. So let's take a break here and then we'll come back and we'll see what the humans are up to and see how their resources tests go while Octavian and his big pile of cash molder away in a corner somewhere. Octavian, you know what's going to happen. You know they're all going to come to you looking for cash dice to make these tests, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, stick around. We'll take a short break and we'll be back right after this.